morning and welcome to First Things First. I'm Jenna Wolf. That's the Hall of Famer Chris Carter. That is Nick Wright. It is an election day.
Go vote, America, right after our show.
Your words. I was just about to say that. It is also our 300th show, which is really impressive.
It is. Congratulations.
Here's to 300 more.
Absolutely.
And then 300 after
Jenna's been here for at least 260 of them.
Easily. Easily. That was, and we got our line out of the way so we can start.
Now we just get going. She might be here for 301. Who knows?
Who knows? It's always a guessing game. El Bell might be heading back to Pittsburgh. Des Bryant is working out with the Saints. Wow, a lot happened while I was gone. But we're going to start with a little Monday Night Football. Dallas hosting the Titans last night. Woo, Amari Cooper making his debut for the boys, and he would get on the board early. Dak finding him in the end zone. That's a 4-yard touchdown. Yeah, Amari Cooper. Later in the first, Dak tries to find Cooper again. This time it is intercepted by Kevin Byard. Dak was not happy. Byard was. Midfield in the star, little T.O. inspiration. This would continue to get ugly for Dallas. Third quarter, we're tied at 14. Dak Prescott fumbles recovered by the Titans. They score in the next possession, make it 21-14. Then finally, Marcus Mariota running it in with less than 5 minutes to go, and that would seal the win. Cowboys fall 28-14. They are now 3-5 on the season. Here's Dak Prescott after the game.
It's disappointing. I mean, we just didn't get the job done. We all got to do better, and it starts with me. It starts with me first all the way throughout this whole team. So, I mean, very disappointed, as you said, coming off the bye week. Cleaned things up. Felt good going into this one, and as to come out with this loss to be 3-5 was very disappointing.
And we didn't see this coming. That's all the more reason, because we did have a lot of time to prepare and had a lot of time to get ready and made some changes that we thought we could make and give us a better shot than this. So this is quite if you will, it's a step back for us. The turnover, the fumble, after the last game we had, the 2 fumbles, I'm sure we'd all like to have back. Tonight's game did not, I emphasize, impact my future look at Dak Prescott.
Jerry better watch out. We're going to hit by that bus that's been backing up right into that interview right there. Jerry also mentioned that he's not going to be making any changes with Jason Garrett or Dak Prescott this season. We'll get to that in a second. But let's start with the game. What went so wrong, CC, for the Cowboys last night?
Well, it's just not the game, Jenna. I'm going to go back to because really this Cowboys team, over the last 20 years, regardless of what people say, regardless of anything else, they've been an average organization. That's the real truth. It's not just about last night. Last night, they've had a lot of nights like last night. We just let them pass by. But what happened last night is what continued to happen since they drafted Dak and Zeke and had them together. They really thought that they had the triplets back together in some form or fashion, that huge offensive line. But since that season, and Nick, I remember you and I getting together. We were doing a lot of shows, trying to build some chemistry. And I was like,
before
Nick,
this show started,
I don't believe that they're going to continue to grow this. Like, I don't think this is the best way. Like, I don't think this is a dynasty.
The day after the Packers loss, the day after the 13-3 Cowboys lost Aaron Rodgers and the Packers in a game that, by the way, Dak Prescott played excellent in. Chris Carter and I were on television together on someone else's show. I don't know if it was Collins or Skip and Shannon's, whatever it was. And Chris said, I think they will look back on this year as the best chance they had to win a Super Bowl with Dak and Zeke. And at the time, it seemed crazy, with respect. I thought, what is he talking about?
Like, both
these guys are rookies. They just had awesome years. And now we've got 24 games of data since then to say it sure looks like you were right.
And it's not a matter of me being right or wrong, but I missed a couple things because I thought Dez and Witten would still be there. So I still thought that they would have some chemistry. I didn't know the NFL rules would change. I didn't know the way people would offensively, how they would try to attack defenses would be totally different. Now, Dallas, they're trying to build this team as if they think they have Troy Aikman, Emmitt Smith, and they just want to overpower people. And in those years, they had an underrated defense. What happened last night? They have not grown the offense. Dak has not gotten better since the rookie season. And when they negate Zeke from going off and dominating in the game, it's hard for the Cowboys to win. Anytime he throws the ball more than 25 times, they struggle to build to win games. It's not as if he can't throw the ball. He's just not a dominant passer in an era that I think that there's more passers, quality passers throwing the football. So his weakness, it's a combination, because there's a lot of guys that have a big arm, but I'm talking about being a pitcher like Greg Maddux. You can throw a fastball, slider, a changeup. And if they take away my running game, I can throw the ball 40 times and we can still win. So it's not about strength, actually. It's about the ability to play the position at a high level.
And Chris, you're talking about the macro, like systemically for the Cowboys. On the micro from last night, they blew this game in the first 10 minutes. First drive, they move the ball down the field, miss a chip shot field goal. There's 3 points wasted. Second drive, they get after the great play by DeMarcus Lawrence, who continues to be one of the most underrated pass rushers in this league. Sets him up for a touchdown, and they get it. Amari Cooper runs a really interesting route. I know we can talk about later that you thought he kind of audibled on his own, adjusted on his own what he saw from Malcolm Butler, took advantage of it. And then they get another fumble. And instead, to me, it felt like, I know this might sound, you might say I'm crazy, but it felt like they were trying to immediately justify the Amari Cooper trade. You got 1st and goal inside the 5.
Yeah.
How about you just run it up the middle with Zeke a few times? You can go up 14-0 on a Titans team that was ready to let go of the rope. You saw the look on Vrabel's face. Instead, this wasn't a pass to Amari Cooper in the end zone that got tipped, that you got unlucky, someone made a great play. He was double teamed from the snap. You're throwing off your back foot into double coverage like it's 4th down. Like, I got to throw it somewhere, so we'll see what happens. That's 2nd down, man. Like, that is a terrible play by Dak. And then, after they have their one sustained drive of the entire game, the touchdown right before the half, start of the 3rd quarter, Dak on 3rd and 14 is fighting for 2 yards to make it 4th and 12 and fumbles the football. Like, those are terrible plays. Yes. Those are, and Dak's rookie year, what made him him was the 4 interceptions. And since his rookie year, since 2017, here's the list of quarterbacks with multiple turnovers in a game, with 10-plus multiple turnover games. Jameis, he's been benched. Deshaun Kaiser, he's not a starter. Derek Carr, we don't know what his future is. And Dak Prescott. Those are the only quarterbacks in the league with 10 multiple turnover games. You can't win that way. If your quarterback's not going to make big plays down the field, you cannot be turning the ball over in critical spots.
I thought the exact same thing you did, that the Cowboys are trying to justify getting Amari Cooper for what they spent on him. Let's get him out early. Let's show the world that we made the right choice. We spent exactly what we needed to spend, and they forced it.
And that's one of the typical little things that NFL teams. We saw Demaryius Thomas get traded over to Houston.
Yep.
He had 61 yards for the whole game in the first 8 minutes. A lot of times, too, playing the wide receiver position, if a guy, you want to get a guy comfortable, so you try to get him involved early. So I could see why teams in Dallas and also the Texans, we saw them trying to justify that trade and immediately in the game.
So what about what we mentioned earlier, that a reporter asked Jerry Jones about the future of both Jason Garrett and Dak Prescott, and he said, we're not going to make any changes this year. Do you agree with him that now's not the time to make any drastic changes with this team?
Well, you can see that they've already made some drastic changes last week when they fired the offensive line coach. That's not something Jerry typically does. Now, there's a guy that they had in the wings who played for the Cowboys, and they feel like that he could do a better job. But last night, one of the things in this game was the offensive line has underperformed. Now, they really missed their all-pro center, but as a group, they just have not grown. 2 years ago, 2016, that was the last time we called them justifiably the best offensive line in football. They are not that currently. So you see them, they tried to make a change. I don't think the Cowboys get better if you fire Jason Garrett during the season. Like, I don't believe
and they don't have Chris Richard going to become the head coach. Sometimes it's easier to fire a head coach if you have a Wade Phillips there, if you have a guy who's been a head coach there. But speaking of Wade Phillips, yesterday was November 5th, right? Yeah. November 5th, 2018 was yesterday. November 5th, 2010. Credit to Mike Florio and Pro Football Talk for pointing this out, because I wouldn't have known it otherwise. November 5th, 2010, Jerry Jones was asked, will Wade Phillips finish the year? He said yes. 3 days later, he fired him. So that was 8 years ago yesterday.
Jason Garrett.
Yeah, he said this guy is finishing the year.
Yep.
And 3 days later he fired him. I'm not saying history is going to repeat itself, but there is a template for Jerry Jones saying, hey, he's safe, and then he's not being safe. Because what Jerry's not used to is their team coming off a bye and getting blown out. It's their worst loss coming off a bye in 15 years. And you heard it in his comments. He's like, we had the extra week to prepare.
Yes.
That seems to be something that really bothered him. We had an extra week to prepare, and we got gifts early. Two turnovers early in our territory, and we couldn't take advantage.
Dallas Cowboys now 3-5. Also, you said
3-5.
November 5th, so today's November 6th.
Right.
Today is my dad's birthday. Happy birthday, Dad.
Happy birthday,
Sorry I did not remember
Papa Wolf.
sooner. Thank you for reminding me, Nick. We got to take a break.
I didn't
I know, you should have reminded me. Why didn't